Aloha. This is Assistant Professor Pike, Professor of Marine Engineering at the Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point. One of a series of videos to familiarize students with EES, Engineering Equation Solver, that we'll be using in my course and can be used for almost any engineering and science course. This video is intended to just set you up with a couple of templates with various unit systems, the English unit system and the SI unit system to be specific. So let's get into it. This assumes that you're already familiar with how to access EES. There's a separate video for how to get into Citrix on the server and find the EES program for your use. So we open EES up, opens up to the splash screen. Mine says professional, yours will say commercial because that's what the Academy has. This is my personal copy. Click on OK. If you wait, that splash screen will go away and you'll end up here eventually anyway. This is the equations window. Note it up here. And we also have a series of icons across the top here. These will provide you access to various functions, including the equations window. That is this icon right here. Let me get out of this mode. And equations window. This is the formatted equations window. We don't have any yet, because we haven't put any equations in. And the other important one is the solutions window. We don't have any solutions yet because we haven't solved anything yet. Notice this main program area is blank. This is where your variables will show up when you start entering your formulas and your variables. So let's get started with first thing, formatting your documents so that they're easy for your professors to figure out who is doing what. So first off, your year of anticipated graduation, last name, and first initial, middle initial, whatever you use for the beginning part of your login, I believe, for the access to Citrix and to this program. So we don't want that to appear the way it is right now. We want to make it a comment. So there's two types of comments: quotation marks and curly brackets. Quotation marks are what we're going to use here. That will show up in formatted equations. So when you're done with something, if you want to print out a nice report or incorporate in a nice report, you can print out a copy and save it as a PDF of formatted equations, and it will be very nicely presented formatted equations. So we move along. The next line be the course number and course name. So let's say this is for gas turbines, ECME 450, gas turbines and marine auxiliaries. Now notice I can put the quotes in manually, or I can do the right click function. Either one works. Let's do a couple of directives, a little housekeeping. Like I said, we're going to set this up for SI and for English units. So first we'll do English units. So we'll say unit system, unit system, ENG for English, F for degrees Fahrenheit is our temperature scale, PSIA for our pressure system. English allows PSIA or atmospheres. Mass, that's for looking up properties, mass or molar, and degrees for trig functions. So notice at the bottom here, we've got, that's basically what we just put in. But we can click on that and we can go toggle back and forth between English and SI. This one is for English, so we'll leave it set up like that. There's also other preferences that we can set up down at the bottom here. You can get into that later on your own. I might have a video on that later as well. So our second function we want to put in, our second directive, is tab stops at 0.2 and 4.5 inches. So that should be at the beginning of every one of your files. Next, the assignment. Whatever that happens to be. So let's say we're going to call this, we're going to do the Pythagorean theorem here, so we might put that in there. But in the meantime, I'll use this to demonstrate the other type of comment, curly brackets. So in this case, we're going to use a Pythagorean theorem. Now, typically, you set it up how you want from there on. Generally, you're going to have something given, some information given to you. So let's put that in. The exclamation point is going to change the color of the text once we do a compilation, which will occur anytime we do either a solve or look at the formatted equations. We don't have any equations yet, so let's say given A equals 3, and we'll say feet. I want to put brackets around that. Let's see. I don't know if I can do that here. Nope. So I want square brackets. Square bracket before and after. So this will be length of side A. B equals 4 feet. Length of side B determine the length of the hypotenuse, which is side C. And we know that the Pythagorean theorem says a squared. And equations are written in here similarly to the way you would enter calculations in Excel. So b squared. So the caret is an indication for exponentiation. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is the Pythagorean theorem. And we can look at this and see, it's a good idea every once in a while to check. We're not going to do much more. So we'll look at the formatted equations. So notice that exclamation point disappeared, but change the color of that comment to red. Over here, our variables show up. We didn't put any units in for C, so it doesn't put them in for us automatically. And our equation shows up as we would write it normally with superscripts. So let's go back. Let's solve. And we have a potential unit problem. Notice, so we don't have the units for C. And it identifies that. So numerically, it's solved, and it's solved correctly, but it says we also aren't quite sure because we have an issue with units. So let's check the units, set the variable units. We have this column here for units. We've already set the units for A and B by entering it into the assignments. And now we want to put C is feet. Click OK. No unit problems detected. We cleared that up. Get rid of that window. No unit problems detected, and we're good. So we close this, and feet show up over here. So that's it. Save that as and I'm saving it in my thumb drive for some files for this term. And I've already got it typed in because I was already playing with this. 001 I use as a prefix for English units. So my English units template is 001 English units template. I'll save it as that and replace the existing one. So I've got 001 English units template. Now all we want to do is make an SI units template and we'll be done. So let's go ahead and change this to SI. C for temperature, kPa for pressure, mass, kilojoules for energy. That's a separate one specified in the SI units, and degrees. And we'll change our variables. So we come up here, our variables. We'll change to meters. And once we have one, we can basically do a fill down, convert everything to meters. We're good. And convert these to meters. Let's see if that took. Sometimes you have to do things in the right order, and it worked. All right, so we got everything there. So now we will save as. And I've already been playing with this. So SI units template 002. And identify it as SI, and it's SI units template. Save. Yes. And that's it. We've got two templates, one for English units, one for SI units, and we solved a basic, very simple equation. We'll cover more topics later. I'm trying to keep these videos short and sweet. Till the next one.